Whether you are what is called a Potterhead or not, you have to acknowledge that the Harry Potter movie franchise is one of the biggest franchises in movie history, with a hell of a lot of success, a huge pop cultural footprint, and now a game that's out there that seems to be burning it up for everybody and's loving Hogwarts Legacy. It's the Harry Potter world, the wizarding world of Harry Potter. And we've known for a while now that Warner Brothers, through David Zaslav, has said that the Harry Potter franchise is a big priority for them. And that's fine in principle, but we haven't actually heard anybody from Warner Brothers make any statements about, well, exactly what are you going to do, if anything? Saying, oh, we love Harry Potter. Okay, but what are you doing? And never really had any pictures. Well, now, according to Warner Brothers executive, it sounds like more Harry Potter movies are on the docket. And maybe more than that, that perhaps an implication was made that much like DC now has its own little studio component under Warner Brothers, Marvel has its own studio under Disney. It sounds like maybe the Wizarding World of Harry Potter might get its own division. It might get its own company. This comes from the folks over at CBR who wrote the following. According to Variety, Wenfield, that's the executive in question, Wenfields took the opportunity to talk about the future of all things Harry Potter. This was on an investor's call. To talk about the future of all things Harry Potter after praising the new direction fellow Warner Brothers Discovery brand DC is taking under its new leadership. The fact that we are enjoying this massive success with the Hogwarts Legacy launch 12 years after the last film, and obviously he's talking about Harry Potter proper, not Fantastic Beasts, 12 years after the last film came out, shows that there is so much opportunity and we're only just starting to expand that. Weinfeld said, while he didn't specifically mention any new Potter-related movies in the works, he strongly hinted that audiences have not seen the last of the Wizarding World, pointing towards the upcoming Harry Potter tour in Tokyo and suggesting that the company has further plans. He goes on to say, long story short, I think this one company approach, great leadership in the individual business units, like a DC, like a Marvel, but coordinated franchise management is probably one of the biggest opportunities the company has, he said. All right, there's actually a lot to take in there. And while obviously the first and foremost is that, more Harry Potter projects. When he says we're just getting started, like Hogwarts Legacy, one thing, we are just getting started in our expansion. We've heard David Zaslav, the head honcho over there, say before that Harry Potter is a priority to them, all that kind of stuff. I think they just made it pretty clear we're getting more Harry Potter movies. Now, whether those are going to be movies with Harry Potter or another area of the Wizarding World, that's another question that we'll have to address another time once we get more information. To me, though, the more interesting part is when he's talking about creating its own business unit, about the implication, hey, this model of one company like Warner Brothers or Disney with the individual units like a DC or a Marvel. The idea of creating a dedicated Wizarding World film division is, at first to me, doesn't sound completely wise until the more I started to think about it. The more I started to think about it, when you look at the success that everything Harry Potter related is enjoying, having a dedicated division to create not what Marvel has foolishly done the last couple of years, which is put out 8 different projects a year, but maybe back to a more modest 1 to 2 projects per year sort of thing. And you have a dedicated division that's just focused on the highest quality stuff they can do within that world. I'll tell you what, it may actually be a pretty smart move on their part if they can, again, it comes down to, can you create good content? But you create its own division where that's their only focus. They're not worried about anything else except for creating Wizarding World content. This is something that could be frighteningly successful if done right. Anyway, Rob, you read the comments that the executive talked about on this investor call. What are the things that stood out to you the most?
Well, look, obviously, the video game component and the success of Hogwarts Legacy is something that is, you can't deny it. And it shows that this IP is valuable across many different mediums, video games, movies, probably television, animation, everything that people enjoy. And as far as entertainment goes, Harry Potter is ripe to be exploited. And they know that. And even though we might not get more Fantastic Beasts movies, Hogwarts Legacy proves if you made a Hogwarts Legacy movie, I'm sure that it would also be very, very successful. This is a brand that should not be allowed to, dude. The way Star Wars was for my youth, Harry Potter is for the youth of people who grew up with it. It's a hugely lucrative franchise that has much more life ahead of it, and I think that Warner Brothers is smart to do this, and it doesn't surprise me in the least. We've talked about it on this show many times. It wouldn't surprise us to see a new Harry Potter movie. I'm sure J.K. Rowling has been writing new Harry Potter books. I've not heard anything to that effect, but I bet she has, because why wouldn't she?
All right, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this whole thing? It sounds to me like Warner Brothers has very solid plans for Warner Brothers moving forward. Perhaps even its own film division. I don't know. What do you make of all that? What direction do you think they could go or should go? How would you do it if you were in charge of it? Or maybe you just think, you know what? Harry Potter was great, but it had its time. Let's move on to something else. I don't know. Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Guys, it's the new year. Do you remember those New Year's goals you promised yourself you'd stick to? HelloFresh is here to help you eat better by delivering fresh ingredients and easy recipes right to your door, taking the hassle out of dinner time. Looking for an easy way to eat well and save money? Cut back on expensive takeout and delivery and get started with HelloFresh. You'll love how fast, easy, and affordable it is to whip up a restaurant-quality meal right in your own kitchen. My wife Ann and I have been constantly impressed by HelloFresh. Not only how absolutely delicious the food is, but how easy it is to prepare and how much fun we have doing it. Go to HelloFresh.com/Campea60 and use the code Campea60 for 60% off plus free shipping. That's HelloFresh.com/Campea60 for 60% off plus free shipping. HelloFresh, America's #1 meal kit.